Hi, my name is John Kim, and I'm a therapist who went through his own rebirth. I share my feelings and revelations. I believe in casual over clinical and with you instead of at you. I come unrehearsed on purpose because self-help doesn't have to be so complicated. Although this is technically my Christmas episode, if you don't celebrate Christmas, you will still get something out of this episode. This episode's more about reminding you to practice the 3 R's at the end of the year. The first R is reflection, looking back at the year and reflecting. Second R is revelations. What are your takeaways? What are your learnings? And then the third R is resolution. And I don't mean that in like resolutions for the new year. It's more about what you need to resolve so you can move into the new year with a blank canvas. What doors do you need to close, not shut, not slam, but gently close so that new doors open? How can you shake your life etch a sketch so you start 2020 with a brand new canvas to create a brand new story? So I was thinking about my own story, and this was a really important year for me. So much has happened, both kind of externally and internally. And I always think that it's the internal that's more important than the stuff that happens outside, the events, the actual things that happen to us, because I think we put a lot of weight on that. But I think it's really important to look inward and kind of sit with what has happened for you internally. So, reflecting back in my own story, the 3 revelations that I had this year, and of course I had many, but the ones I want to share because I think they're important and they're kind of the if I was to take a highlight marker to 2019 and my learnings, these would definitely be 3 of them. So one, under the umbrella of love, it's this idea, and I've been talking about it a lot this year, pulling from my own story, but also. Coaching clients with their relationships, the value of what I call swimming past the breakers. And that means that I think today, especially with swipe culture and people frustrated with dating, I think that we're not swimming past the breakers. And let me explain what this means. This means as you meet someone, and when you meet someone after the honeymoon, right after the the dopamine you get from discovering new stories and new perspectives and new bodies and all of that, there's going to be things that come up, right? So as you start to build something with someone, you're going to experience the contrast, right? Different attachment styles, different love languages, and a lot of people, when the differences brighten and when that shows up, they bounce, or they want to be with someone else, or they try to look for something more shiny, or they want to chase the feeling from the honeymoon, and they don't do any work. So swimming past the breakers means that when things come up, to look inward, to take ownership, to understand your own wiring and why things can be triggering, or why you're reacting a certain way. And I think that by doing that, then you swim past the chaos and the crazy and all the shit that gets stirred up, and then there's calm. And I think that that's when love starts, and that's kind of my revelation this year, is that love doesn't happen until you swim past the breakers.
We'll be right back after this brief message.
One of the greatest things about the internet is that you can learn anything, anywhere you want, at any time. And there's a lot of noise out there and platforms that teach courses. I use Skillshare. Skillshare is an amazing online learning community with thousands of amazing classes covering dozens and dozens of creative and entrepreneurial skills. I've taken classes on how to produce content. I've taken classes on podcasting, on how to send emails. It's amazing, and it's super, super convenient and just streamlined. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you 2 free months. That's right, 2 free months of Skillshare. It's really easy. Just go to Skillshare.com/angry. Go to Skillshare.com/angry, and you will get 2 free months of Skillshare. There are thousands and thousands of classes on any topic. Go do it right now, and you can start learning to be a better person. My second revelation is the power of social engagement. Um, I actually grew up with a lot of social activity, and looking back, I would have been a very lonely child because my parents were never home, and I was just kind of out doing my own thing. If I didn't have a tribe, and so I grew up on a street where there were always kids playing outside, and I got into trouble, and even from like breakdancing to BMX bikes to skating, there's always been a crew, and it's always been that crew that kept me out of, even though I got into trouble, kept me out of like serious trouble, right? Kept me out of going into going into the dark side, getting into drugs, using, harming myself, all of that stuff. And so I really, and then of course, I grew up, and then I got married, and I didn't believe that friends were important. And I remember when I was married, my wife at the time had a lot of friends, and I didn't think they were important. I wanted to like buckle down and build something. And I remember just, sitting in coffee shops for just hours, and I thought that working hard meant just writing your ass off and running toward what you want. And I thought friends were a waste of time. I thought traveling was a waste of time. And so I just became kind of a workhorse with zero self-care. And of course, I turned invisible and miserable. Um, and then, of course, later in life, post divorce and kind of going through my rebirth, and especially this year in 2019, really appreciating the value of other people. Like, it's not an option. I've learned. I think it's mandatory. I think that we're not meant to do life alone, and having friends. So not just someone that you are intimate with, but actually friends and different types of friends, right? So I found my first community through fitness about 10 years ago. And of course, now community based fitness, and it doesn't matter what that fitness is, but that kind of community fitness has become huge. And I think it's such a blessing. I think it's such a great way to have, your built-in tribe. So starting with that, and then of course, making friends with like-minded people, surrounding yourself with people who are going to champion your story and support you and accept you. I just think it's crucial in your self-betterment journey. Last night I hung out with a friend I haven't talked to in a while, and we just, and I gotta admit, like, it was late, and I was like, oh, I gotta go do this. And then, but once I was there, I mean, the drive home, it's like going to the gym where sometimes you're like, oh, I gotta do this, but then you never regret the drive home from the gym, right? And I remember coming home just feeling full and realizing, yeah, life is about that human exchange, sharing stories and kind of holding space for each other. So yeah, that's one big revelation of 2019, is the value of the social engagement, that you're not meant to do life alone. And also you get something from um, your friends that you don't get from your intimate partner, and that's okay. I think when we get to relationships, we think like, oh, all we need is the person that we choose to love, and that is also supposed to be our best friend, so why do we need other friends? No, we get something very different from different communities, different tribes, and all of that. So make sure you surround yourself with a good social network. And it doesn't have to just be substance. It could be, just acting silly and bumping chest and, doing whatever. Like, it's okay to have different types of friends. It's not, I'm not saying just have a certain type of crew that is very serious and all you guys talk about is life and super deep things. I mean, that's cool. That's necessary, but also having friends that you just go to concerts with and, just do stupid shit with. I think that's important too. My final revelation of this year is the importance of seeing the glass as half full. And I know it sounds simple, but I'm telling you, as someone who used to be miserable and used to just dread things and always putting weight on what I didn't have, who I wasn't, what I couldn't do, always seeing the holes in my life and never really practicing because I really think it's a practice. Never practicing um, the muscle, never exercising the muscle of valuing what you have, seeing the good in your life, right? Finding the gold in the shit, if you will, and that is an ability because it doesn't come easy because of the world that we live in, and really being grateful, starting there. And it's okay, of course, to want and dream, and you should, right? Definitely don't have a ceiling, but also be really appreciative of how far you've come or what you've built. I think one of the things that I've struggled with, especially growing up in LA, is just like the chase. Always seeing that people have more and always wanting more because I always felt that I had less. And now, especially this year, something has shifted in me internally where I feel like I've done some things and I'm really happy uh, with where I'm at. I still believe in going further, of course, and being ambitious and working hard. But if everything stopped today, and for the rest of my life, I get to write books and just text people and do sessions and help people. Um, I'm totally okay with that, and like I'm not going to allow what hasn't happened yet to determine how happy I am today, right? Finding joy in my life today. And so I think sitting in that and being really grateful, practicing that is what's going to make you uh, more potent and put you into a state of attracting instead of a state of chasing and feeling less than. So that's one of my revelations of 2019 is to really practice positivity, not in a fake way, because there are people who are yeah, my life is great and cheerleadery and shit, and that's not actually an authentic positivity. That's called pretending or denial. But a deep, true, authentic positivity, meaning an effort to put to see the silver lining, to notice the good and how far you've come, you know, and the value of your life, right? I don't know what your revelations are, but hopefully this will remind you to reflect and to think about your revelations, what you've learned in 2019, and of course the final piece, which I didn't share myself, but hopefully you have some of these resolutions. What do you need to let go of? What do you need to make peace with? Who do you need to make peace with? What does it take for you to softly or gently close some doors so you can move on? I think that a lot of times us holding on to things, maybe it's anger, resentment, whatever, is going to prevent us as we go into the new year from, really catching momentum and starting fresh. So reflect, think about your revelations, and also your resolutions as we close 2019 and get pumped. I hope you're pumped about 2020. Something about 2020, there's a ring to it. It's going to be an amazing year. I believe so. I hope you do too. And I hope that this is a year that changes everything for you. Hey, if you have a passion to help others and want to become a life coach, or you just want to acquire tools to change your own life, learn more about our Catalyst Life Coaching Intensive. We are an evidence-based training program with an amazing, authentic, vibrant community, and we give lifetime support. Just go to my website, theangrytherapist.com, and click on Life Coach Training. Hey, before you go, if you like my ramblings and revelations and shares, I am now texting people directly to their phone. Just go to my website, theangrytherapist.com. If you want to subscribe, I'll be doing weekly text 5 days a week, reminders, and also mindsets and exercises and challenges. And every week there will be a different theme, a different topic. So I hope to see you in your phone. And also, if you enjoy this conversation, I hope you help me spread the dialogue and help other people by sharing it. You never know what people need to hear. So if it's helped you, I hope you can help me help others.